We are alive. 10 ultimate tips for gig drivers from top rideshare and delivery experts. As you go through these faces, you will notice the various people. You may have watched their videos. Probably this is the guy that introduced me to rideshare. I started Fleets because of him. This guy's amazing, Dustin. You know all the people, right? Now, I've had a rather rough week. I've had multiple of my cars vandalized. The individual went to jail. The individual has court hearings coming up. And I've definitely gone out and bought all the goods. I bought another long-range rifle with sights, just in case I have to pop someone on my property. But man, it hasn't been funny. The damages were over $20,000. No fun. I can tell you that, no fun. But I'll share more details at some later stage. I've got restraining orders against the individual, and I'm going to shut them all down systematically. That's what we do here. So let's dive in to this great article. Thank you, Buckle. Thank you, Marty Young. Now, Marty Young is the CEO of Buckle. He put this together. I absolutely love it. So the first piece will be my number one piece of advice for new Uber drivers. That's actually from Harry Campbell, the rideshare guy. The second piece is the 2-phone Uber trick revealed. I made that video years ago, got over 1 million views. That's by me, Rideshare Professor. There are many elements of that people still use today. Number 3, can you be deactivated for declining too much? Can you be deactivated for declining too much? And that's right along with Bree. I'm excited to hear her story there. If you have been deactivated, go straight over to Gig Rocket. We have a phenomenal program, right? We've helped over 700 drivers already, right? So go check that out. Now, number 4, this mistake could cost you $20,000 delivering. That one's by Gig Nation. Number 5, what to do if a rider cancels mid-trip. Dustin is driving. You know him all. Number 6, how to handle Say My Name by Real Rideshare Stories. Number 7, how to make $1,700 a week on DoorDash by Evelyn Brown. Number 8, Uber and Lyft driver tips. Never do these 7 things by the Rideshare Hub. Number 9, what I earn driving Uber for a 70-hour week. Eddie Doyle. And number 10, DoorDash tips, learning and tricks for new dashers. Pedro DoorDash Santiago. So we'll dive in with this fine gentleman. This is Marty Young. He is the CEO of Buckle. I had the pleasure of spending the entire day with him. I love it when a CEO knows everything that is happening on street level, right? You can talk to him about UberX, XL, SUV, Black, Comfort, you name it, Lux, commercial vehicles, limos. He knows everything, right? So when you engage and talk to someone that knows absolutely everything about the industry, you know, no wonder they're successful, right? They go out, they start their product, and he started Buckle. So Buckle was founded in 2017 with the belief that drivers in the gig economy don't have access to the kinds or quality of financial services that are critically important to your success. We want to do something about that. So that's Marty Young. Car insurance is key when you drive a gig, but many insurance companies don't offer coverage that's tailored to your needs, and things like deductibles can be as high as $2,500. Ouch. Buckle puts insurance options in reach that aren't available anywhere else. Our team has a deep understanding of both insurance and gig work and how they should work together. We're custom built to deliver coverage that works specifically for your needs. With us, there's no credit check, but there is dedicated support and a compelling price. Plus, we believe that it's important to provide a community for drivers to help you grow your business, from discounts and perks to advocating on your behalf with legislators and regulators to sharing tips and advice from leaders in the field, like all the experts in this book. We want to connect you to the resources and people who can help you succeed. Thanks to all the experts who have contributed to the guide. We truly value their belief in our work and helping us support rideshare and delivery drivers through all the unexpected bumps on the road. Marty Young, CEO of Buckle, and I'll vouch for him any day, right? Just like I vouch for individuals like the Brian Greening from Legal Rideshare. Why? Because they know their business and they understand people and they know how to talk to people. Unlike some other CEOs that I've mentioned many times before, Dara Khosrowshahi, John Zimmer, Logan Green. So tip number 1 is from Harry, the rideshare guy. My number 1 piece of advice for a new Uber driver: what to do before driving, right? Now, here it is, what to do before driving. I get a lot of questions from new drivers and experienced drivers. I wanted to share a tip specifically for new drivers because I think that they often have the most questions and a lot of them can be solved by doing this one thing. My number 1 piece of advice is take a ride as a passenger. I did that as well. You learn so much. The thing that a lot of drivers don't realize is the passenger experience starts before you even pick someone up. For example, taking a ride as a passenger will allow you to see when passengers receive notifications from drivers and what they look like. Maybe your phone is not going off when the notification comes through, and a text message would be more effective to save you wait time as a driver. Another thing I learned from doing more rides as a passenger is that passengers follow the driver as soon as they call for the Uber or the Lyft. They can then see if the driver is sitting in a parking lot or if you get lost, and this impacts in canceling the trip. You also might receive questions from passengers about how to leave a tip. If you have never taken a ride as a passenger, you won't be able to help. So fantastic tip there. So tip number 2 from myself, the rideshare professor: the 2-phone Uber trick revealed. Now, this was a successful video back in the day because it just gave you so much data. If you have 2 phones, especially in cities like LA, you gotta just have like AT and Verizon, because all around the country reception is quite spotty, so that helps. You don't want to, if you have Uber and Lyft running, you don't want to toggle between the app when you're driving. You have maybe a tablet and a phone, or 2 phones on your magnets. You can see exactly what's going on, except safety is a big one here, but most important of all is that if you are on Uber or Lyft, you can jump with the other phone. You can go and quickly check, pretty much at 4 apps running simultaneously, the 2 passenger apps from Uber and Lyft and the 2 driver apps. So I could see, okay, where are driver situated, what deals are floating around, what is the passenger paying for this trip, what am I possibly receiving. You get a lot of data by just having 2 phones. So I have a trick for how to make more money through Uber and Lyft by using 2 phones. The one phone you use as a rider and the other you use as a driver. When using your first phone as a rider, about to book an Uber, you can see cars near you. When looking at areas on the app, know your demographics. Some areas are high-end, and if there aren't any cars around the desired destination on the rider view, that means it's a good area for a driver. Use your other phone to log in as a driver and position your car in the middle of that area, away from the other drivers, so it shows up for the riders. You will have a larger circumference and get more trips because you won't be competing with other drivers. It's all about geographical positioning, high-end areas, and what type of car you are driving. You can make 20% more revenue following this tip. A bonus tip is to do this with 2 apps at once, Uber and Lyft. There we go. So number 3 is ride along with Bree. Can you be deactivated for declining too much? So she says, I've received comments saying that I'm going to be deactivated at some point for declining offers, or I've had people saying that they can't decline because they're going to be deactivated. So the question is, can you be deactivated for declining too many offers? And the answer to that is no. I have been driving for over 2 years now, and I'm very picky about the offers that I accept. It has to be within the area that I want to go to, so declining offers is not going to get you deactivated, right? That is her opinion. I have heard otherwise from certain drivers, but I would say she's about 90% accurate on that, right? Something that could potentially get you deactivated is if you're constantly accepting offers and then constantly unassigning them, right? Let's look at my acceptance rate for DoorDash. My current acceptance rate is 5%. It says accept more delivery opportunities to improve this acceptance rate. It doesn't say if you get below a certain percentage, you're going to be deactivated. And by the way, you are an independent contractor according to them, right? So you should be able to call the shots here. Now let's look at Uber Eats. I have an acceptance rate now. Prior, there was no acceptance rate there. My acceptance rate is 8%. Nowhere does it say under my acceptance rate that if I get below a certain percentage, I'll be deactivated. Look at it as I'm driving my own vehicle, I'm putting gas in my own vehicle, and I'm paying insurance for my own vehicle. I have to make sure the offers I'm accepting make sense for me and that I'm staying profitable. Everybody has their own strategy for what works for them, but you will not get deactivated for declining orders. And that is what Ride Along with Bree says. Now I'm trying to see if we have any messages here. Where is the live chat? All the messages are visible. Let's see. Somebody give a shout out. We've got 33 people in the room. I am going to jump to the next one. Anybody say something so I can see if the comments are coming through? It would be great. The tip number 4 is by Gig Nation. This mistake could cost you $20,000 delivering with Uber Eats or DoorDash. So let's find out what cost you 20 grand. Do we have any? There it is, RSP. Thank you so much. Jake Pippins, I appreciate the shout out there. So here he says, Yisrael, how are you? Silverman Fox in the house. New Jersey representing Jersey. It's Silverman Fox. So he says this mistake could cost you 20 grand delivering with Uber Eats or DoorDash. Let's talk about how to not lose the money you are making. If you make this one big mistake when you're out there delivering for DoorDash, Uber Eats, or shopping for Instacart, you can be giving away a big chunk of your earnings and maybe even digging into savings. Joey Dirt says, how are you? The insurance provided by DoorDash and Uber Eats does not actually cover delivery drivers during all 3 periods when you're out there on the road. You're only going to be covered after you accept an offer and when that food is in your car. So if you get into an accident during one of those periods, that's going to your personal insurance. On top of that, even if you are covered and you get into that accident at the right time when you're delivering food, you actually have no collision coverage. Fact. That means your personal vehicle expense is going to come out of your own pocket, or it will go to your personal insurance, which oftentimes won't give you that collision coverage either. So what are you supposed to do? There's an option, and it's called buckle, and they will cover you driving at all times when you're on the road delivering or driving. There we go. Mary Varela's in the house. She's busy. She's working hard. Here we know this face, don't we? This is tip number 5. Dustin is driving. Hands up if anybody knows Dustin. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate you. So he says this is what you do if a rider tries scamming you by canceling mid-trip. I love it. And I know that video well, and it got a lot of views, right? So what do you do if someone cancels you while you're in mid-trip? A few days ago, I picked up an XL, so 5 people. The first person I dropped off ended up being the person who requested the trip. That person told me to finish taking his friends home and put it in the app. Then 5 to 10 minutes into the trip, the app says cancelled, and it ended the trip. So this is a classic bait and switch here. Oh, you know what? I ordered it. Take all of these people. That only happened to you once. It happened to me about 2 or 3 times. So what do we do here? So then 5-10 minutes into the trip, the app says cancelled and it ended the trip. Come to find the guy who was dropped off first decided to cancel the trip after he got out, right? I then pulled over at a safe spot and I explained to the people still in my car that the trip cancelled and someone needs to request me or request another ride. They offered to pay me in cash. I told them we can't do that because it's against the terms of service. They weren't willing to request me again, so I asked them to get out of my vehicle because time is money. My tip is to never do cash rides and don't ever take crap from riders because you can risk the chance of being deactivated. Well said. And that video got a lot of views. Number 6, the real rideshare stories. How to handle say my name. So how do we do that? There are circumstances where a passenger asks the rideshare driver, "Who are you here for?" when opening the door instead of saying the driver's name to verify the ride. I recommend turning the tables and actually having the passenger say my name and check my license plate instead to see who I am. This is because I don't know who you are and I don't know who I'm picking up. I had to explain. I love it. It's a great idea. Great thing that everybody's using anyway. I had to explain to passengers the reasons why what they are doing is wrong. The driver is supposed to ask. We're already a driver, babysitter, and therapist, but now add teacher to that list. We have to re-educate passengers on the say my name stuff. Passengers have the license plate number, the make and the model of the car, our picture, and our name. Passengers can even call us and see us talking on the phone with you. So passengers should not come into the car and say, "Who are you here for?" or say my name, because it's not the right way to verify. I like that one. I like that a lot. Got 39 people in the house. Please hit that like button. So here we have tip number 7, Evelyn Brown. How to make $1,700 a week on DoorDash. Tips and tricks for beginners. There we go. Pretty lady. She says, my first trip to make a lot more money on DoorDash is to start dashing early. Fit Connect's passengers have the upper hand on all the info. Indeed. So do not wait until 2 p.m. to start doing DoorDash, because when you wait until those times, that's when it's very, very busy. You don't make as much money because you have to split the orders with other dashers. When you start doing DoorDash around 7 a.m., 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., you get a lot of orders and there's not as many dashers out there. Good point. Charmanda is in the house. So she says, when you start doing DoorDash around 7 a.m., 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., you get a lot of orders and there's not as many dashers out there. Good point. My second tip is to not take an order for $3 or less. Amen. Right? Because that means I will make $3 to drive sometimes 15 minutes away. Decline these orders to have more time to take the higher orders that will make you more money. My third tip is, if you accept an order, make sure you complete it. My fourth tip is to be on time. If you deliver the customer's food on time, you have more time to complete another order. When you're on time, your customers will tip you more. My fifth tip is to stack your orders. If you are picking up an order from a restaurant and you see another order come through for that restaurant, accept it. to save on travel time to a new restaurant. My last tip is to always check DoorDash when the weather is bad, like when it's snowing or raining. DoorDash sometimes offers promos to dashers because not many people want to dash in the rain. Charmander says I won't do anything under $7. I like that. I did bullshit under $4, $5. No, just set your bar. $7. Set it high. Stand for something, right? So great tip. Tip number 8, the Rideshare Hub. I've been watching Rideshare Hub's videos recently. They're only getting 200-300 views. Right? If you're recycling the same story 400 and 500 times, people lose interest. That's all I have to say. Uber and Lyft driver tips: never do these 7 things. Probably taken from one of the other channels. The Rideshare Hub, tip number 1, never flirt with a passenger. Not only can it lead to a very awkward and uncomfortable situation, but it can also creep out the passenger. They're in your car, they don't know what your intentions are, and they might feel trapped. It doesn't put anyone in a good situation. Most apps have a strict policy against flirting with passengers, even if they flirt with you. Tip number 2, never smoke in your car. Even if you are a smoker, do whatever you can to get the smell out of your car. This could lower your rating. Also, you shouldn't vape in your car while you are driving a passenger. Tip number 3, never be rude to a passenger. The best thing to do is to keep your mouth shut, even if the passenger is being rude to you. Snapping back can lower your ratings and hurt you in the long run. Check that rider's age if they look too young. Amen. Tip number 4, never use your phone while driving. Do not take calls while you have a passenger in your car. Passengers may see this as unsafe if you're distracted by a phone. Call while driving. If you have to take a call because it's an emergency, it's best to ask the passenger first. Tip number 5, never have a dirty car. If your car is messy on the inside and outside, the passenger will likely give you a lower rating. Tip number 6, never play your own music. You can play the radio if it's quiet and easy to listen to. If you do want to play your own music, it's best to ask the passenger first. You can also ask the passenger if they want to play their own music. Tip number 7, never drive before confirming the passenger. Roll down your window and verify the person is your passenger. I like the last one. Tip number 9, Eddie Doyle. What I earned driving for Uber in a 70-hour week. Now, I would never, ever drive 70 hours because that basically means I do not have a life. You shouldn't be living in your car. 70 hours is not healthy. So what would my earnings be like if I was a full-time Uber driver in 2022? I worked a 70-hour week driving Uber. To give you the answer, on the weekend of March 11, I earned $1,138 and was online for 27.5 hours. However, I took into account the amount of time it took to get home, since that's still time, gas, and wear and tear on the car. In total, I drove for 28.5 hours, put 633 miles on my car, and spent $113.35 in gas. After I subtracted gas, that's $36 an hour. However, something really important to notice about this payout is only $655. Came from rides, and the rest comes from promotions. Uber runs every week. You hit a certain amount of rides and you receive a bonus, which varies every week. And by the way, that's disappearing very, very quickly. Without the bonus money, I make less than $20 an hour. The rest of the money came from tips, which was almost 10% of my earnings. That's pretty good. Jake says, carry a bottle of Febreze. It's appreciated but not reliable. Then during the week of March 21 to 28, I earned $1,157. Andrew Bibby's in the house. Uber Radar sucks big time, bro. You're right on that one. And worked 39 hours. I put another 805 miles on my car and spent $125 on gas. That works out to be $26.44 an hour. If you take away the promo, which I earned $260, that would drop my hourly rate to $18 an hour. You now have to take into account your expenses, and personally, I set aside 35% for taxes and car repairs. In total, I drove 67 hours, put 1,439 miles on my car, spent 238 on gas, and averaged 27 miles per gallon. After paying for gas, I made $2,053, which comes out to $30 an hour. With the promotions and tips, I would have earned $18.33 an hour. Moral of the story, the promotions make or break your earnings. And then sadly, the promotions are getting less and less. Number 10, I think this is the last guy, Pedro DoorDash, San Diego. He's got that long curly hair. DoorDash tips, learning and tricks for new dashers. What does he say? For drivers who are new to DoorDash, it's important to know that your acceptance rate does not matter. It can go down to 0% and you will still get offers. However, your completion rate does matter, and it cannot go below 80%. This means you have accepted an order and you have completed it. If you accept an order and change your time, this will impact your completion rate. When it comes to money, most of your pay should be from customer tips, not base pay. If most of your money is coming from base pay, you're probably taking too many orders or you're delivering to people who don't tip. Additional tips I have for drivers is to have a phone charger or two in your car to keep your phone fully charged. Start dashing on a full tank of gas. Make sure you have your red card and make sure you have your hot bag and space blankets. My final tip is to bet on yourself and set goals based on a shift, day and week. Don't just dash to dash. I like that. I like that a lot. So yeah, we have 10 ultimate tips for gig drivers from the top rideshare and delivery experts. I'm honored to be in the mix. There's my mug there. There's Dustin. There's Harry. So 7 thinkable sales arrival times. Jake's is very true. Set a goal. So yeah, hope that helps. 10 great pieces put together by Buckle. If you want to go and check out the insurance, my link is beneath the video. We have 43 people in the house. Smash that like button as you're going out. I am heading to bed. I've had many long days. Just got delivery of a beautiful rifle and another gun that I bought. My house and my 4 cars that were in my driveway got vandalized. Thank God they caught the person, and I have lawsuits filed. I will be serving them in court. I want all the money back. Gute Nacht, says Israel. Gute Nacht. Good night. Buona notte. Good night, everyone. I appreciate you all. I'm just really tired, so I want to keep this short. I just want to really say thank you again to Marty Young. Daylights is why haven't someone emerged with new drivers app that will knock Uber and Lyft out of business. Go and watch one of my co-op videos. You'll like it. Sign up there. We launched the first city in Canada and we're doing great. Daniel says keep safe. You as well. Everyone keep safe. God bless you all. Please stay safe on the road. Don't take any BS from riders, right? And make a lot of cash, guys. Figure it out. I don't want you to drive around the clock 24/7 living in your car. It's not healthy because you're trying to make up the deficits. Yes, they've cut back your earnings. It's truly time, ladies and gentlemen, to go out and get your own licensing. Be a private chauffeur, right? Go and check out my private chauffeur course at Gig Rocket and put 100% of the earnings in your pocket, right? These pathetic splits right now, 60 for them, 70 for them, 30, 40% for you. It's not cutting the cake. It's not cutting the cake. Drivers are putting additional hours. Co-op, not in Minnesota. Text them. Minnesota's in there. Just add your city. Just text them and they will add your city, right? So yeah, name these. Can you name all of these guys and girls? There's a girl there. There's another girl. Where's that other pretty lady? She was in the mix there somewhere. I think she's right at the end. Name them, put them down in the comment box. Go to Buckle. My link will be beneath. Smash that like button on the way out, and everyone have a great night. I've got a lot of good material coming your way. Please, my friends, be safe out there. Thank you and good night, everyone.